Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Hapaday Zantiro, welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry. This month, 39 years ago, actually, May 15th, 1981, Mount Pagan on the island of Pagan in the Marianas erupted, its largest eruption of 19 in recorded history. Over 50 Pagan residents, most of whom were children, were safely evacuated to Saipan the next day. Today, we go back into history and speak with one of the individuals who was on the island at the time of the eruption, as well as one of the first responders. We're here at the home of Jacinta Kaipat, who has welcomed us here to share her experience surviving the eruption in Pagan. Buenas.
Hello.
How is it that you were in Pagan at that?
They had transferred me to work up there as a health assistant while my husband was working for sanitation.
How long were you living there before the eruption happened?
Like 5 months. I left Saipan December. The volcano erupted in May, so I didn't even get the chance to really,
What did you think when you first got to Pagan about the lifestyle?
Oh, beautiful.
Really?
Beautiful. It's a place where you feel content.
Wow.
Where no worries except for the what is that, the centipede? They have a lot up there. And
Big ones?
Yeah. Except for that, other than that, it's a place to raise kids where you feel the food we eat are mostly fresh, like fish, cows, pigs, whatever, chicken, which was one of the saddest things about me because I'm not used to eating those, like fresh pig, fresh cow, fresh that. So fish, yes. So it's mostly like I'll be eating fish, wait until the, pig like stays in the freezer for like a couple of days for the smell to. But
so it took some adjusting when you
oh
got
yeah.
there. Did you guys have, when you first moved there, did you have any fear about the volcano or any concerns?
Well, not really at that time because, every time, like, they usually go radio contact each other, through the, so they keep telling us that the volcano's not gonna erupt, that there was another volcano growing somewhere between Pagan and Alimagan in the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Which,
So you felt relatively safe?
Yeah.
So
at that point, yeah.
Was there a time where you actually started to become concerned?
Like 2 weeks before the eruption, that's when the volcano was just smoking. Not like the usual way, it was just. So they started again to, make radio contact with Saipan to see if there's any, help they can give us where they're gonna transfer us back to Saipan. But the same answer we get, it's not gonna erupt. It's because there's a volcano growing until that morning when it erupted.
What time was that? What were you guys doing?
Like 7 o'clock in the morning. I was getting our things ready, preparing, because my husband told me that no matter whether it erupt or not, because like a week before that, we started feeling like the earthquakes.
Oh.
But not as bad as it did when it really actually, like minutes before it erupted.
Okay, so
we got this big shake that, oh my goodness.
So you were preparing.
Yeah,
what were you preparing?
Like our food, water, clothes, food for my kids. Because, I packed the one I just showed you the picture, he was the problem really because, hi.
He was young.
cereal,
He did.
those kind of food.
Yeah.
It was a sad thing for him because so most of the time I'll be making like, buñuelos just for him.
Ay, a day. And
So,
how many
like,
kids did you have with you at that
two.
time? Okay, so you had
The two boys, yeah.
And you were packing because you were going to go
To the other
another
side of
part
the island, yeah.
Yeah.
Where, whether you erupt or not, at least we're safe. So he told me to start, preparing, packing while they go up to the radio to contact Saipan again. Because it just won't stop anymore, the earthquake. It just continues, like it will stop for how many minutes and then come back again like that. So
Were the other families also preparing?
yeah, everybody
So
was kind of like, yeah.
getting ready.
Only the guys went up to the radio while the wives, stay back and started preparing.
How did you feel?
Actually, at that moment, I don't know. I couldn't feel.
Maybe
I guess I
shocked.
was shocked.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel, and then, when that thing actually, oh my God, it's until this day I can hear that sound in my mind when it, the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Was
I
it
guess
kind of like you
just-
felt it with your body?
Yeah, I mean, it shook you. And until this day, there are times when, like, I will recall back, especially times like this when they started talking about the volcano or started talking about Pagan being bombed for the whatever that,
Military.
how many interviews I have of that thing. But it's just,
So what actually happened when you heard the boom? What was
my
going on in
husband
the
was running
environment?
down from the radio and just started yelling to grab the kids so we can start running. So he grabbed the oldest one, Ryan, while I had the baby in my arm. So we started, running down because we were going to go to the other side of the island. But it's okay for them to travel that kind of route, no, because they're used to that. They
I was
grew
gonna
up
say,
there.
There's not like a road or
But
it's
no,
like a trail.
you have to climb the, to
Steep
get to the
hill?
other
Yeah,
side. Yeah, very steep hill.
Wow.
And every time I look back, I see this, huge balls of fire. What am I running for? So I just sat down right there in the middle of the road with my baby in my hand. And my husband just started yelling at me, get up and let's go. And I look at him and I say, what am I running for? That thing is chasing me. So where am I going to go? He said, just get up and let's go. So it happened that my husband's brother, Joe, I thank God bless him. I always thank this boy for, I saw him, just running like a wild horse that they just let out of a cage. And I just started yelling at him, take the baby, because I wasn't going to move anymore.
You were tired.
No, not tired, but the thing is, if it's going to catch us, it will catch us no matter where I run to or what. So, might as well he just grabbed the baby from my hand, and that was it. That was the last time I saw my son. And then, when we got down to the beach, there was a small boat. It had a hole in it. But we just started loading the kids in there, And then my oldest stepbrother and my husband, there was no paddle, there was nothing. Just this boat with a hole. So while they were, swimming and pushing the boat, here we are with our hands, paddling. Some of the kids just taking the water out of the boat, so we won't sink. Finally, though, we made it to the place where we can get up and just walk the beach side, climb the huge rocks and everything. And for all this time I had my slippers on my feet. But for some reason, when I finally got to a land, I just took off my slippers like I'm going inside my house. Take off my slippers and I just started climbing the rocks too, like the little kids, because I was looking at them. Somebody needed, to guide these kids. So me and my husband were collecting them, and my stepbrother and his wife were collecting them while, And these kids, they grew up there, so they know their way. Here I am with my... So it's kind of like, I'm not guiding them. It's them guiding me. You know the way I felt naked.
Yeah. And where did
It's
you
like-
guys go?
To the other side, I forgot what's the name of that place. Upon, I think it was called Upon San Mena, because there's Upon Santa Fe and Upon San Mena, whatever it is. I forgot the name of that, but it was, there's this huge mountain-like hill or something that, blocks us from, the volcano.
volcano.
We were still getting all the small lava when they, dried. Our heads were full of it.
Wow.
Black. I mean,
Ashes?
talking about
Or
not
was it actual fire? Bits
rocks.
of fire?
No,
Oh,
but I think by the time they came down to us, they were already,
Cool off.
Cool off.
Yeah, but they
they
were
turned
falling
into
on your
small. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So there was actually no cave there or anything. It's just
Nothing.
that there was a part of the
a
island
part,
that
yeah,
kind of shielded you
yes,
from the volcano.
Yeah.
And so, what did you guys do when you got there?
Well, the guys started cutting down the coconut leaves to kind of make a little, place
Shelter?
for us to. So me and the other, ladies, we just started doing our own, prayer, the rosary. We just started praying with all the kids sitting around us, while the guys went and, gather coconuts to feed the kids. And here go my son. I want my cereal, Jesus Christ.
Was he praying or was he just
How
being
in
demanding?
God's name? Because by that time, they were like hungry already.
Oh, yeah.
That boy never ate anything because he just wanted his cereal. Not even to drink the coconut juice, nothing.
Wow.
So, like, he was, hi. And then, like, before nighttime, they started gathering woods to go down to the beach and make fire, just to signal. Because the planes were we can hear the planes, but they were so far up that,
Yeah.
they probably didn't think that anybody survived that thing. So they went down to the beach and, they made this huge fire where it's like to let them know that, we're still here, we're still alive.
Yeah.
Then next morning, that's when that, the Hoyo Maro, the big tanker, Oyo tanker, I think, from Japan. I guess they heard because they were just calling, whoever's closest to the island to see if they can, rescue or find survivors. Or then the next morning, everybody started yelling because here come this huge boat, coming in, and some of them even were saying, we're not gonna get on that thing. What if they're communists? At that point, I don't care. If they're communists, whatever they are, I'm taking my kids and I'm getting on that boat.
Yeah.
So
So it was the next day, actually.
yeah, next morning.
Yeah.
It was, so they took us out to the ship. They were so nice. Just give us whatever they can find that we can, shower. Because we were all black, talking about black, I mean, that kind of black.
Like
From the
shoes over
ashes
there,
and, yeah, all our face. My feet were bleeding because, I don't know how the hell these kids walk on that.
Climbing on the rocks.
Yeah,
their
with
slippers,
bare
yeah.
feet. So everything was bleeding. And then between Alimagan and Pagan, we're closer to, coming here. That's when we met with what's the other ship? Oyomaro. So we had to transfer again to the ship because the one we were on cannot come into Saipan, like has to
Too
be
big.
like 200,
Yeah.
200 feet out. I think they don't have permit to enter the island or, our beach part. So they had to transfer us again to another ship.
How many of you
53.
were rescued?
53. All of us. Everybody made it. Nobody,
How do
we all
you
made it.
How do you feel this experience affected you as a person and the way you look at life?
It just, it's an experience where you experience something so scary, something so, I still can't believe that I made it out there, out of that island, alive. At that point, if we're talking about a bigger island, a big island, yes, I wouldn't think much. But here is this small island with this, kind of thing. Oh man, every time I turn around and I look, there's this huge fire, just,
Raining down.
Yeah. So when we got to the other side where we were supposed to be, that's when I started crying. Because I just saw my brother-in-law, there was this big rock right there at the beach side. And it had a little hole, I think, from the war thing. My son was in there, my brother-in-law was, protecting him with his body from the falling. That's when I started crying. Because, at that point, I didn't know if they drowned. All these things kept,
Yeah.
I was trying to get to my son, but yet all these things are like there in my mind. Am I gonna find them alive? Am I, ever gonna see my boy again? That was the biggest thing in my head. And then when I got there and I saw him and I, just like there's this pain in my heart that I could not believe, this 11-year-old boy had the sense, with this kind of incident that's happening, had the sense to, protect that 1-year-old boy.
So your brother-in-law was only 11 years old?
Yeah, at that time, yeah. And, with that kind of, with the volcano erupting, I mean, it was just kind of painful thing to look at, and it really just made me, happy, and because my boy's alive, and yet sad at the same time because not everybody was there yet. There's still some kids that are trying to get to the island, and all these things were in my head, like rolling. So that's when, the guys, like the fathers, and they started walking back, to see if there's any more, because we were just really concentrating on the kids. But somehow they knew how to get to the other side of the island where we were, and, except for my father-in-law, one of the kids, one of the girls, got hit on the head by the falling, I guess it was a bigger rock than what we were. That it made cut her head, no? Because that lava thing is sharp. So make a cut on her, and my father-in-law was just behind her, so he stayed back and helped the girl until they reached the other side of the island.
Do you think this experience made you a more fearful or a more brave person?
It made me more fearful, because for a long time it's like, I cannot be without my kids for too long. I have this thing in my head where, something can happen right then and there, and where are my kids? So it's like that kind of, it made you more, how do I say this?
Protective, maybe
yeah,
protective.
and make you more realize how life, how we should embrace the life that we have, and make the best of it, because anything can happen at any moment. Ay, Santa Maria, it was hard. It was hard for me, but somehow, as my kids grow older, it's like I'm always holding them back because of the fear that if I let, if they go play with their friends basketball and something's gonna happen. That fear made it like, to the point where it took me a while to get, to realize that, they're not really mine. God is just making me borrow them for now. But the time will come when he's going to say, okay, it's my turn now. And he's going to take them away from me. And that kind of helped me realize, that I'm holding these kids back because of the fear that I had, so many years ago from there. And still until this age, it's still stuck with me. So, finally I started to let go little by little, but it was hard. So we just keep going from there. But that volcano eruption really changed me. Really made me realize that, my life doesn't belong to me. Now when I look back on, I can laugh and, because I made it out of there. We made it out of there, all of us. With nobody, died, and it's just, God is just giving us another chance. Either you do better or you do worse. It's up to you, but he saved us from that eruption. So I guess there's still something for us out there to do.
We'll be back with more after this.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact our daily lives, including our cultural institutions and individuals who contribute to the humanities. The Northern Marianas Humanities Council is pleased to announce a new grant program to respond to the needs of nonprofit organizations and individual participants in the humanities who need support through this difficult time. The COVID-19 Relief Grant provides up to $15,000 to eligible organizations and up to $10,000 to eligible individuals. Visit the Northern Marianas Humanities Council website at www.nmhcouncil.org/COVID-19 to learn more about this opportunity for relief. The Northern Marianas Humanities Council COVID-19 relief grants are made possible by funding from the U.S. Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or CARES Act, and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
Welcome back to Your Humanities Half Hour. We're speaking today about the eruption of Mount Pagan on the island of Pagan on May 15th, 1981. And now we'll hear from Diego Kaipat, one of the first responders to the island after the eruption.
We were the team from the health part, but there were also other officials. The ship that we were on, they call the Fentress, we met up with Jose Maru between Pagan and Alamaga. We have two boats on the Fentress. One boat was from the police department, and the other one was from owned by Mr. Aloysius, Reverend Aloysius, and his brother Gus. They were with us to assist with rescue. So we met up with the Jose Maru, and the boats were lowered and sent over to Maru, and that's where they bring the Pagan residents over to the ship that we were on, the Defender. The families that were there were my dad and my brothers. Vicente Aldon and his family. He's the teacher. Vicente Aldon with his family, former congressman, the late Pedro Castro and his family. Like I said, Frank, my brother, who was the woman, and his wife and two kids. There's also some other persons that were there, single, and they were staying there. I know of my cousin, Mr. Saturnino Kaipat. He was staying there. Francisco Kaipat, the brother of the wife of that other Mr. Vicente Aldon. The American guy, known as Charlie Oden. He was staying there for a long time also. And there was also I only know him as Shaggy, but his last name is Santos. And also another Mr. Francisco Aldon, a brother 3 Franciscos on the island at that time, and there were some other boys that that I really don't know them. They were younger than those people that I know. Well, it's a very simple life up there. We have a school. Like I said, there's a teacher. We have I take care of the dispensary. There's power. We have two 30 megawatts generators. So life was simple. We just people gather coconut and make copra for money and farm and fish for their food. I remember a while back when we first moved there from the previous commissioner, Mr. Juan Algun. He said that he was informed by scientists that go up there that the volcano will erupt someday, and people kind of know that it will erupt because daily we see smoke, coming up from the cone, and as a young boy, we went up and go inside the crater, and yes, there was smoke coming out from another smoke cone within the crater. We kind of just live without worrying about it. We knew from the elders that were there before when it erupted. I think in 1921 or 1920s. That when it erupted, they just moved to the other side where the residents went when this eruption occurred. So that was just the plan, that they had in case it erupt again. Like in the middle of the island, when you look at the island on the map, it's sort of like shaped like a Q. There's a round. The northern volcano is round, and then there's like a tail to the south side, and in the middle of that there's a mountain, and there's a place where I think maybe during the older times people were staying, because we have some remnants of latticing stones, and that's where the villagers went. Some of the kids swam to that site. It's not that. Well, when you look at it, maybe it's like from microbeats down to where Haraguchi building is. We treated one young girl that was hit with I think a flying some lava or rock hit her on the forehead. She had some bruise and minor cuts, but nothing that will require any stitching or surgery. Nobody get burned. They look tired and worn out, but that we observed when we examined everybody. All of them when they came up on board. The family members of the residents were all worried, and they were all praying, crying before they know that they were okay when we rescued them. I mean, we took them from Kojomaru, and they were all very sort of sad and upset that the volcano had erupted, and hoping that nobody would perish from it. And I know that everybody were so grateful that everyone's safe when we came back.
We've been going back in history today with an account of the eruption of Mount Pagan on May 15th, 1981. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can contact us on Facebook at 670 Humanities. And if you'd like to hear more Your Humanities Half Hour, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Northern Marianas Humanities Council. This has been Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.